sponsored multiple SPACs so far this year. And I'm so curious, given the many years you were a founder, of course, of Sun Microsystems and of Khosla, you've been an investor for a long time. What's the opportunity that you see in SPACs that's new?
Well, SPACs offer another opportunity and then another investment vehicle, just like an IPO is or private equity funding is. It's just a different vessel. If you look at the biotech industry, they've been able to do IPOs 5, 10 years before first revenue. They need to project into the future, explain their future, and IPOs have been available to them. There's many more areas of technology that fit the same model. And for them, SPACs may be a great alternative. We announced Nextdoor recently as a SPAC. One of our SPACs did. Berkshire Grey is a great example of an opportunity where the future has to be explained. It's a strong technology company that has to be explained. And so SPACs play a large role in these kinds of opportunities.
So let's talk a little bit about Berkshire Grey, one of your longtime portfolio companies planning to SPAC. This is a warehouse robotics company that counts Target, FedEx, Walmart among its clients that basically helps to automate the supply chain. What do you think is so disruptive about their technology, and what does that disruption mean?
Well, we started with Berkshire when it was one founder alone. And the opportunity came from the following fact. Amazon is a serious technology company, has developed a lot of automation for itself. In a world where consumers are demanding immediate shipments and very low-cost delivery, every part of the supply chain, from e-commerce to retail fulfillment to grocery to third-party logistics, parcel sortation, they all have to be deeply automated. Amazon's doing it for themselves. The opportunity for Berkshire Grey is to do it for everybody else who can't keep up with Amazon on the technology and to get an integrated solution. Traditional supply chain suppliers really don't understand AI and robotics. They may call it AI, but it isn't AI. And then there's a lot of startups with niche solutions. Berkshire offers the only really complete solution that is next generation AI to compete with Amazon for those vendors under pressure from Amazon.
So basically, it sounds like you consider Berkshire a way for everyone else to compete with Amazon.
Absolutely, they have to. Their cost structure depends on this. Their delivery times depend on it, and that matters a lot to consumers. And so it is the alternative for everybody, for the technology that Amazon is developing inside. As you know, many years ago, they bought Kiva, a robotics company. They've done a lot of automation for themselves. Somebody will have a large opportunity in doing it for everybody else, whether it's the customers you mentioned, Walmart and Target, or others.
Now, when it comes to robots, there's always this question about robots taking jobs from humans, not necessarily filling jobs that need to be filled. And I wonder, has technology actually progressed to that point? And if that happens, is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I think robots will switch the kinds of jobs that exist. One of the larger opportunities in all of industrial America is inverting the supply chain. A lot of manufacturing happens in China. That needs to be done locally in the US. And so there's a large opportunity here. I do think robots will do automation and increase e-commerce and, in fact, probably increase employment. There's a certain ratio of humans to robots that will generally be deployed.
Now, Vinod, you have become famous over the years for your sort of black swan thesis of investing that the best and biggest technologies, those are the ones to invest in, even if they have a high % chance of failure. But the key is not being afraid of that failure. As we emerge from a pandemic, what do you think are the black swan technologies of the post-pandemic era, given that the pandemic is something that certainly most people didn't see coming?
Well, in fact, pandemic has accelerated a lot of other opportunities. I think inverting the supply chain and strategically not being dependent on China is one major opportunity. There's opportunities in construction, there's opportunities in food, there's opportunities almost every area I look, whether it's insurance and fintech or healthcare. So technology-driven opportunities will be very large, and Berkshire Grey is a great example of completely renovating the supply chain to meet consumer demands for instant delivery of everything and at almost free cost to allow people to compete with Amazon Prime. That'd be just one
Now,
opportunity, but broadly, it's part of this inverting the supply chain for local everything.
Okay. Now, as you mentioned earlier, you're also sponsoring a deal with Nextdoor. Obviously, Nextdoor has, we have needed our communities more than perhaps we ever did through the pandemic. It was our only touch point for months as people were under lockdown. Of course, Nextdoor, while it has great potential, has also been struggling with racism and hate, neighbors not helping neighbors. How do you think Netflix balances Nextdoor, balances those challenges going forward? And what do you see as the potential for Nextdoor?
Well, this is a problem with the online world, but Nextdoor has a very unique advantage because it's both online and offline in the neighborhood and community. And Sarah has been emphasizing the community aspects of it. It's much harder to be mean if you know the person you're talking to and see them face to face at the coffee shop or in a park picnic. And I think Nextdoor has this unique opportunity to add community and thoughtfulness because it's one of the only networks that has this online-offline connection. And to take advantage of large opportunities, we all talk about the sharing economy, but which online network is best equipped to share a pasta maker you might want to use 1 hour a month, or a lawnmower you might want to use 1 hour a week? So we can substantially enhance community, enhance communication, and the tone of the online and offline communities. I think Nextdoor has a large role to play. And Sarah, as you know, came from Square, where Sarah and I worked together for 7 years. That was a purpose-driven company, and Sarah has very much made Nextdoor a purpose-driven company, going after building community in a way that other online networks can't.
Sarah Friar, the CEO of Nextdoor. Vinod, I have only 30 seconds left, and I'm so curious what you think about whether Silicon Valley, as we know it, is sort of over now that so many more startups are distributed. People have left Silicon Valley because of the flexibility the pandemic allowed, or if you think people need to be here to produce amazing technology.
Well, Silicon Valley, more than anything, is a culture. It's a state of mind. And I think that culture, the more broadly it spreads, the better it will be. Having said that, I don't expect the importance of Silicon Valley to decline, but I do expect other regions to also grow up with this remote work. I think it's generally a good thing for the country and society in general.